So there's a lot of news going on right now regarding Julius Randle. You have people within the Knicks organization questioning his fit with the team. You also have people on the flip side saying that, well, hang on a sec, we went 12-2 in January with Randle and Anunoby, so why would we trade him? And also, the best return that the Knicks could get for Randle would probably be something like PJ Washington, Daniel Gafford, Jane Hardy, and second round picks, and immediately that makes the Knicks a worse basketball team. My thing with Randle is that he's not the best shooter, he's not the best defender. So what exactly is going to be his role with the Knicks moving forward? But then you start to think about it. Well, there's really two things going for Randle. The first thing is that he plays bully ball. You can see he gets to the rim, he attacks it, he's pretty much unstoppable one-on-one. And that's going to be something that the Knicks need against Boston, right? Because let's face it, guys, the Knicks are not beating the Celtics with Mikal Bridges, Jalen Brunson, and OG Anunoby, right, as their main three guys. That's just not going to happen. They could push them to 6, but they're not winning that series. But with Randle, he has the potential to be the best player in that series because we saw it on full display last season. Randle's last 7 games against the Celtics when he's been a Knick have been absolutely elite. He's one of the best players in the NBA at attacking the Boston Celtics, and it's because he just goes downhill and there's essentially no help coming because, I mean, what are you going to do? You're going to leave a wide open shooter? Or are you going to allow Mitchell Robinson to catch a lob? So all these clips is just Randle putting his back to the basket and going and getting easy buckets and getting fouled often. That's why I love Randle for 2 reasons. Again, is he's just very physical, which is something the Knicks don't have outside of Brunson at least. Josh Hart, but like nobody's on the level of Randle, man, of just, okay, I need a bucket, man, just bully my way to the basket. And also, of course, this all started with Randle. The Knicks signed Randle in free agency, and they got Coach Thibodeau, and of course, Mitch and Randle were the longest tenured Knicks, and they just kept building and building, and then Leon came in, and Randle was the sort of foundation to start to this team. You also have to look at Randle after his first 13 games, because he clearly was still recovering from an injury. He was getting into shape. Randle averaged 26-9-5 on 51% from the field, 33 from 3, and 83% from the free throw line. That's 61% true shooting over a 31-game stretch. Isn't the largest sample size, but if Randle had been able to continue that, it would have been his most efficient season from his Knicks career, which is good because Randle's made All-NBA and he's multi-time All-Star as well. So there's a lot to like about Randle. The main concern here is that he has a player option next season, so technically speaking, he could leave the Knicks and they could get nothing in return. So maybe there's some panic in the organization of, oh, well, let's trade him now while we can, in case he leaves us. But also, well, Randle's coming off of an injury. So if you were to get the most value from Randle, why would you trade him right now after a season-ending injury? Because teams are certainly going to be hesitant to trade for him. So it doesn't make sense to me to trade Randle right now. If I was getting a better player, then I'll do it, right? So if we were getting Karl-Anthony Towns, and I know Knicks fans are going to say, well, how is Randle better than Cat? That's for you guys to decide. There's no point in arguing it. To me, Cat, he's a very good defender. He went up against Jokic in the playoffs. He went up against Kevin Durant. Everyone's like, oh, Gobert. Well, Gobert wasn't guarding Jokic, if you guys actually watched that series and followed it. And Cat, of course, is a lethal three-point shooter. So you want to beat Boston? Well, you have a guy now that's a stretch 5. He's the best shooting big that we've ever seen in the game of basketball. Imagine Jalen Brunson going one-on-one and then, okay, pick your poison. Do you let Brunson score or do you let him kick it out to Cat for a 3? A guy who's a 40% three-point shooter or higher every single season. So, and also Cat, you put him with Coach Thibodeau, who he's played before, that's only going to make him even better defender, right? Because we saw what Tibbs was able to do with Hartenstein. He was a guy that was making about $8 million a year, and then he ended up leaving the team, going to the Thunder. He's making $29 million annually, right? He's AAV. So I think honestly the upside of Cat would be higher, but I do think that the Knicks need Randle because if they do trade him, there's no way we're winning a championship with our second option is Mikal Bridges. And I like Bridges, but he's more of a third or fourth option. That, so it's just critical that we keep Randle out. Randle, he missed 36 of them. Josh Hart played the best season of his career in the final 35 games of the regular season. He averaged 12 points, 11 rebounds, and 6 assists in the playoffs. He was our second best player. Over the first 9 games of that 2024 postseason, he averaged 17 points, 13 rebounds, 5 assists, and 2 triples, while shooting above 45% from downtown. Remember, Hart's going to make $18 million next season. Randle will make 26. Not to mention that Randle's about to get a new contract, and it certainly will be above what he's making right now, unless he has a bad season or an injury season or something like that. But I find that very hard to believe that that would even happen, because Randle is still an All-NBA level player, a 3-time All-Star. Looking at the Knicks, they beat a good Philly team. Everyone's like, oh, they were the 7th seed. Of course you should beat them. Well, Philly had the best record in the best net rating when Embiid and a guy like a D'Anthony Melton was healthy. They were the best team in basketball. So it wasn't like Philly was an ordinary 17. We had to go up against them without Randle especially. So it was a very difficult series, but we found a way to win it. So overall, where I'm at right now, I think that the Knicks should keep Randle unless they get an offer that they can't refuse, right? Like, we're not trading Randle for the Zubac and PJ Tucker. I mean, that's just not happening. If we're trading Randle, I need a superstar level player. It's not even about picks, right? Like, they could offer us 4 picks for Randle. I mean, to that point, that would be a huge haul, but I wouldn't even do that. Because if we lose Randle, all of a sudden now we pretty much aren't winning a championship, man. I mean, even if everything goes right, I think the Knicks could get to the Eastern Conference Finals, but are they going to beat the Boston Celtics without a number 2 option that can give you 25 to 30 a game in that series on efficiency? Someone that is already proven that he can go up against the Celtics and play well, right? A lot of guys struggle against the Celtics, but Julius Randle has been at his best against them. So for me right now, I'm keeping Randle, and I'm just seeing how the fit goes. If we play 20 games, 10 to 20 games, and Randle's fit really is that bad, well, we know he's healthy, we know he's playing, so we're going to get more in value regardless anyway. So I find it interesting that there are people in the organization for the Knicks that do question Randle's fit, but there's also some that think his fit's going to be perfectly fine. I'm somewhere in the middle. I do think that Randle has the potential to be at his best with who's around him now, but I also do doubt also his inability to shoot threes, right? His defense isn't the greatest. In the playoffs, we haven't seen Randle play very well, but he was injured against Cleveland and Miami, and then that first playoffs against the Hawks, I think it's very unfair to hold that against Randle because it's his first playoff series, and obviously the Knicks roster wasn't that great. I mean, they had no business even going up against the Hawks, and I did predict Atlanta to win that series as a Knicks fan, so it wasn't like shocking. I knew the Hawks would win that series. I mean, they ended up going to the Eastern Conference Finals. The Knicks obviously won one game, so yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Julius Randle and the Knicks, as of right now, they're trying to, I guess, come together and figure out how he's going to fit with this team. I don't think it's that difficult. I mean, Randle is going to be our guy who goes downhill, who creates more opportunities for Jalen Brunson. And Randle, he's not really a bad defender. I mean, there's always going to be someone in a playoff series that we can put him on, right? The one thing would be Boston. Do we put him on Porzingis? Do we put him on Al Horford? Do we put him on maybe, I guess he would have to go up against Porzingis unless we put Mitch on Porzingis, but we'd rather have Mitch obviously at the rim, but even Porzingis and Horford can shoot. So, I mean, pairing a player like Julius Randle with the Knicks, I mean, it shouldn't be that difficult, man. He's an unbelievable player, and if someone that isn't the biggest Randle fan saying this, it kind of shows how great Randle really is. So I'm excited to see him back out there. There was plenty of times this past season in the playoffs, especially against Indiana, where I was like, we need Randle. I mean, I get we were short man to begin with, but we seriously need Randle to go out there and to create opportunities for everyone else, man.